Hello, everyone, and welcome to Fenix News Live. I'm going to warn you right now, I've got both my cats in the room. They're both very awake. I don't know what's going to happen next. You may see a cat's butthole in the camera. Apologies in advance. Let me just say that I missed you guys last week, but I did have a great time eating a lot and hanging out with my family. And here's the cat scratching the carpet. It's going to be like that today. The good news is that no politicians did anything too majorly stupid last week, so I don't think we missed too much. But they're all back now, so we can expect that to change very shortly. So now we are back. We have a few things that we are going to discuss today. First of all, is George Santos about to get expelled from Congress? Is he going to be gone by the end of the week? That is very possible. We will discuss. Next up, while George Santos is having a not good week, Nikki Haley is having the opposite. She is having a banner week. All kinds of good news for her coming out. So we're going to take you through some of that, including some big news that just happened today. And finally, Nikki's biggest rival, Donald Trump, has declared war on Obamacare. We're going to talk about why the Biden campaign is cheering for that. Okay, as always, please chime in the comments to say hi, let us know you're here, ask some questions, make some comments, share your favorite cocktail recipes, you know what to do. Nicole is here. Hi, Nicole. And as I stated, and as Nicole has stated, my cats are very, very much here. One of them is currently chewing on the electrical cord that is holding up my light. I really wish you wouldn't do that, but I love you. Okay, we're going to do our best today. Who knows what's going to happen? We'll figure it out. Okay, so let's start with everyone's favorite chronic liar, George Santos. Now, the thing that bothers me with regard to George Santos, besides the lying and the corruption and all that, is the fact that people keep calling him a fabulist. There's this word fabulous. It keeps getting thrown around a lot and it sounds like fabulous. But it's really just a much more fun way to say that he's a pathological liar, and it's sort of takes the edge off how bad that is. So let's just say he's a liar. He's a person that lies about stuff. Nothing fun about that except the fact that it affords us the opportunity to make many, many jokes at his expense, which we do. So George has been making the GOP look bad since before he was even elected, and has pretty much been a giant albatross for their credibility. Okay, now the cat is scratching on the door. If you're wondering what that sound is in the background. This was a really good idea, I think, to let the cats in. Okay, getting back to other bad ideas like electing George Santos. You like the segues, people? I'm an expert. So, very few people like this guy. Even in his own party, he is an albatross for their credibility. He has not done them any favors by, just being himself. There's very few people of his own party who are still supporting him. Clay Higgins and Marjorie Taylor Greene are two of those people, but nobody likes Marjorie Taylor Greene anymore either. So, grain of salt there. But up until now, the Republican Party has been reluctant to eat one of their own, given that their majority in the House is thinner than a slice of prosciutto. Well, before the Thanksgiving break, things changed. There was a House ethics report that came out basically saying, yeah, we checked and this guy sucks, might want to throw him in jail. So the head of that ethics committee, Republican Michael Guest, chair of that committee, he introduced a bill to expel George Santos from Congress, which made old Katara Revanche a little pissy. So George Santos went on X to throw shade at his colleagues. He accused them of, drinking and screwing lobbyists and hookers and blow and the whole 9 yards. But he ultimately was like, yeah, they're probably going to kick me out. Then he said, and I find this hilarious. He was talking about how he went from being the Republican it girl to the Mary Magdalene of Congress. And that is absurd. George, you were never the it girl, okay? You are not Zendaya. You have been disliked from the jump, and it's a miracle that you made it into Congress at all. But there is something really interesting happening with this vote that I wanted to point out to you guys. Oh, good. The dog's here now, too. The dog and the cat are here, and now they're going to play with each other right over here. It's just a little furry time over here. This was such a good idea. I'm definitely going to do this again next week. Just letting the door be open for all the critters to come in. Okay, the interesting thing that is happening with this vote to expel George Santos. So you got the chair of the committee, Republican Michael Guest. He has introduced his resolution, but it hasn't made it through the proper channels yet. You know, there's a whole process. And meanwhile, you have Democrat Robert Garcia filing his motion to expel George Santos today, which could end up moving faster than the Republican motion, which puts Republicans in a really awkward position. So most of them say that they're okay with voting for the Republicans' motion to expel. Seems like the votes are pretty much lined up on that. Whenever that does come up for a vote, probably going to go pretty quickly. But they don't want to vote for the Democrat version of the exact same thing, because then they'd be seen as teaming up with the Democrats to nuke one of their own people from orbit. But at the same time, they can't really be seen supporting George Santos. So it's going to be real interesting to see what they decide to do next if the Democrat resolution gets ahead of the Republican one. So be on the lookout for that. Now, all of this is taking place as a giant balloon of George Santos is going to be in front of Congress as lawmakers return today. So it's going to be a little tough for them to ignore. In case you're wondering, the giant balloon, it's kind of like the Trump giant balloon, but it says, "I'm full of hot air." It's adorable. Definitely go look that up. I think they have a picture of it on Politico somewhere. In addition to this, George Santos has scheduled a presser for Thursday, and if these motions haven't made their way through the process by then, some people are saying that he's going to take that opportunity to resign. So that'll be really interesting. So let's go to the chat now. I want to see what you guys think. It seems like George Santos getting kicked out of Congress is a matter of when and not if. And the when is probably this week. Does anyone want to take bets on how fast it's going to happen? Because I personally think he might be gone by tomorrow, Thursday at the latest. I don't think he'll make it till Friday. I mean, if they are smart, they've got to cut this drama off and get it over with and move past it as quickly as possible so they can get back to arguing about border funding. So I'm curious, what do you guys think? I wish we had like a sports betting app, that we could use to take bets on all this stuff. Let's see what everybody has to say. Wayne's here. Hi, Wayne. Good to see you. Austin says we should get the cat a microphone and a cute little suit. You should see what happens when I try to put this cat in the carrier to take him to the vet. I don't think I would survive putting him in a little suit. Mibbit Maker, yes, Mibbit Maker, Donald Trump has declared war. It might as well be on the USA. But yes, we will talk about that a little bit later. Austin says that fabulous was a typo. They meant to say asshat. Correct. Mibs. I forgot I'm going to start calling you Mibs because it's shorter. It's cuter. Even Santos's alternate personalities don't like Santos. That is an excellent point. Would a Katara Revanche vote for a George Santos? Would an Anthony DeVolder vote for a George Santos? It is hard to say. Katara Revanche doesn't seem to have a lot in common with old George Santos. Let's see. Austin says that Brazil has also filed a motion to continue to expel George Santos. The Brazilians are an intelligent people, and that's a good choice on their part. Austin says, I bet 5 monies that Santos moves to Mar-a-Lago and calls safe can't tag me. It wouldn't surprise me. And I am wondering, actually, if that happened, if George Santos was like, I am going to go to Mar-a-Lago where I can be under the safe, sheltering shadow of Donald Trump, if Donald Trump would just be like, I don't know him. I've never met the guy. Who is this guy? I've never seen him before in my life. And, just like push him into the deep end of the swimming pool. I think that's very, very possible. Glenn's here. Hi, Glenn. Is there anyone comparable to Santos, Green, or Boebert or Tuberville on the Democratic side? That is a really good question. In terms of the more far end of the party, a lot of people would say the squad. So AOC, Rashida Tlaib, that group, the young female lawmakers who are kind of shaking things up and trying to pull for a more progressive direction. But I don't think that they would, throw a spanner in the works just to get their way. I don't see them trying to shut down the government to get us to plant more trees or anything like that. So honestly, I'm going to say no, but that's a really good question, actually. Okay, so let's talk about our next item on the agenda, Nikki Haley and the 2024 election. So Nikki Haley is having a very good week. So a few things that's happened lately for her. So since Tim Scott dropped out, she has been picking up his donors. She's beating DeSantis in New Hampshire and is neck and neck with him in Iowa. Meanwhile, he is fighting with his main super PAC and trying to spin up another one. Drama he probably doesn't need right now. The billionaire founder of Home Depot is meeting with her next week to see if he might pull his money from DeSantis and give it to her instead. She is polling better against Biden than Trump is, and she had a hugely successful rally this week in South Carolina, where she was the former governor, where people couldn't even get in because it was filled to capacity. So all that's pretty nice for her. But that is nothing compared to some news that broke this morning. Nikki Haley is getting that sweet, sweet Koch brothers money. That's right, the political apparatus of money and donors, and I assume vials of young people's blood are also involved somehow. All of that is going towards Nikki Haley. And to describe to you what that is like the ring from the Lord of the Rings of the Republican Party. You get that Koch money and you're like, oh, my precious, my sweet Koch brothers precious. I don't do a good impression of that character. Apologize. I don't really do a good impression of anybody now that we mention it. So this money, resources, political apparatus that the Koch brothers have built, this could be a game changer for her campaign, because what kind of happens is you get one or two donors lining up behind somebody, and then the rest start lining up, and then there's this snowball effect, So if she can get all of these big donors pulling in her direction pretty quickly, and a couple start joining and they tell their rich billionaire friends at the yacht club and they all start lining up behind her. If she can do this fast enough, she could finish off DeSantis and consolidate all the never-Trumpers by Christmas. And then starting in January, Trump's got one trial after another in Q1. He's got a couple starting in January, one in February, a couple in March. Hard to overstate how many trials this man is involved with. So that continued image of him in a courtroom, one, is probably going to energize his supporters further, or, maybe some people are going to start going, you know what, this is a lot of courtroom time for a presidential nominee, is it too much? Maybe so. So let's go back to the chat. What do you guys think? We've got all this good news for Nikki Haley. Does she have a snowball's chance of getting the nomination in the end? Keep in mind that the Republican National Convention is not until mid-July. There's a lot of courtroom time for Donald Trump between now and then. So let's go to the chat. We'll see what's up. And then I have a follow-up question for you in just a minute. Okay. Glenn agrees with me. Glenn, thank you for agreeing with me. I like having yes men around. No, I'm glad that you agree with me. Mibs says, Haley, one of those who keeps spitting out the judgment and morals or common sense. Oh, nope, sorry. The chat moved and I started reading the next comment. One of those who keeps spitting out the Trump Kool-Aid. See, Christy Romney. That is true. So I think that's honestly her best shot at this point, is to say, no Trump, I am the not Trump. She can, at some point, these candidates have got to start, really going after him, and there's so much to go after him on. It's not like she's going to be the vice presidential pick, so I don't think she has to worry about pissing him off or anything. But she, her, Chris Christie, Romney, I kind of wish that they would form like a new party of like somewhat sane people. Not that I'm calling these people sane by any means, but they're a saner party. Maybe that's what they could call themselves, the SP. Glenn says, Nikki was all in with Trump, so I question her judgment and morals or common sense. Excellent point. She is a flip-flopper, and apparently those flip-flops have very tall heels on them, and they can be used as deadly weapons, according to her last debate performance, which still not sure what she meant by the shoe weapon thing, but do I want to see her hit Vivek Ramaswamy in the face with a high heel? Absolutely. Austin says, I've sent her $7 just in case she wins. I want her to feel like she owes me something too. I think, Austin, that you might have to get in line behind the billionaire people. So just be on the lookout for that. Maybe don't hold your breath. Don't want you turning blue. All right. Another question for our friends that are in other countries. So I know we got a couple of those here. I'm curious if billionaires have the same kind of power in your elections that they do over here. Like here, basically, if you're a billionaire, you can make a phone call and you can say, that guy, and then that guy's got a pretty good shot of getting it, especially if you can get a couple of other billionaire friends from your yacht club to join in. So I'm curious, is America the only country where politics is so billionaire driven? Or do other countries do a better job of protecting elections from the very, very rich people? Let's see what you guys have to say. Austin says, as an American, what the hell is another country? Excellent question. Mark's here. Hi, Mark, from Australia. Mark, do you want to weigh on this question about how much power billionaires have in Aussie elections? I'm very curious. Glenn, I believe you are over in Germany. So, would love to hear from you as well. And Mibs, will you remind me, I believe you're in the UK? UK or Australia? I can't remember which one. Will you remind me which one you're in? I'm going to hang out a second. The good news, while we're waiting for some things to come in, is that the cats and the dog have all decided to take a nap. So no one is actively climbing on anything or chewing on any cords. So fingers crossed that the rest of the stream is going to be nice and quiet. We'll see. Okay. We're going to come back to that question because it seems like it's taking, let's see. Sorry guys, it looks like there may have been a little bit of a problem with the feed there. Not sure what's happening, but okay. We're going to forge ahead. Let's see. Where are we at? Okay. So before we get into our last segment, okay, here's some people. Okay, Mibs, you are in the UK. That's what I thought. Yes, Rishi in the UK is super rich. Excellent point. So that's a good answer to that question. Yes, billionaires do matter over in the UK. Austin says, no one lets poor people run for office or vote or nothing. Basically, yeah, that's kind of how they plan for it to work. So before we get into our last segment of the day, just want to remind everyone that if you want to buy us a Christmas present, you can do so by donating on Ko-Fi or joining our Patreon. And the Fenix merch store is an excellent place to do all of your holiday shopping. All of those links are in the description below, as well as our newsletter, which you can subscribe to make sure that you never miss an episode. Also, I have a guarantee that in every email I send out, there will be a picture of my cats. One or both of them always appear in the email newsletter. So if you like pictures of cats, that's a good place to get them. Okay, let's talk about this fella. Old Donald Trump is out there on the campaign trail. Now, he has said that if he is reelected, he is going to renew his fight against Obamacare. Yes, it is about time that those freeloading senior citizens stopped getting all that insulin so they don't die. Everyone that wants insulin should have to participate in the Hunger Games. You got to really want it, okay? How bad do you want it? That is the question. Now, upon hearing the news that Trump is once again declaring war on Obamacare, Biden's team was like, yes, by all means, let's stop talking about inflation and start talking about how we don't want people to be homeless because they got the flu. Love it. And I just want to remind everyone that Trump was president for 4 years. He had plenty of time to come up with an alternative to Obamacare, but he failed to do so. So what exactly is going to be different this time? I mean, this is what baffles me about people that want Trump back. He's saying he's going to drain the swamp and make America great again. He already had the chance. I mean, does the swamp look drained to you? You know, Mitch McConnell is still very much there, looking pretty swampy. That's a turtle joke. Was America at its greatest when he was suggesting that people inject bleach into their veins? You know, is Mr. Bleach Veins the guy you want in charge of your health care? If you're lucky, you might get a 20% discount off of your horse dewormer prescription, but you know, that's about it. So here we're going to go back to our friends from other countries and our U.S. friends that have been to other countries. And I want to hear, what is the most shocking thing to you about the American healthcare system? And I will go first while you are typing in your answers. So I'm in Texas, which is right on the border with Mexico. And when you go to Mexico, the attitude towards healthcare seems to be, sure, man, whatever you want, we can do that. It's a very can-do atmosphere healthcare-wise. I've known several people who have traveled there for medical procedures because they can get them done cheaper there. Seems like, you know, pretty easy to get whatever prescription drugs you want. And then there's America, which is the opposite. There's a very like, ooh, no kind of energy when it comes to healthcare. So I want to hear from you guys. What do you think is the most shocking thing about American healthcare? So let's see. Austin says, please stop reminding me that Trump was president for 4 years. I don't need that kind of stress. Austin, if that starts to stress you out, I just want you to think about 4 words. It's going to make it all better, okay? And this, honestly, this could be the American healthcare plan. Every time you're having a bad day, 4 words. 4 seasons, total landscaping. You're going to feel better in just a minute. Glenn says, can anyone believe anything Trump says? You know, Glenn, I would love to see, I know Trump has been around longer than George Santos, but I wonder if you could do like a falsehood density index, you know, where it's like during the time that they were in office and running, you know, how many lies, you know, we can convert it to Scaramucci's if we want. How many lies per Scaramucci does each candidate have? Who has the most falsehood density? I think that would be a really interesting thing to take a look at. Austin says we could make America grating again, which would be great. Great news. The dog and the cat have woken up. The dog is here with his toy now and is chasing the cat around with it. The cat has rediscovered the electrical cords. Everything's going great in here. So exciting. What a day. What a Tuesday. While we're waiting, I am just going to double check and make sure that George Santos's vote to expel has not been brought up yet. I'm going to do a quick check. This is how we do live news, guys. Live news. Okay, I don't see anything so far. So, okay, that has not made it to the floor yet, according to this. But it looks like there is going to be a vote forced sometime this week. Okay, getting back to our chat. Austin said, I don't know for sure that Trump once said, I'm very gassy, but I would believe him if he did. Yes, if there was one thing that we could believe, I think that would be it. Austin is liking the comic business going on in the background. We have the dog toy back there now, so we're being very careful with the set dressing here. Okay, anybody else want to weigh in about their healthcare systems? Because I really, from what I hear about the UK, for example, I've heard that there are some long lines, but it's not like we don't have that here. But it seems like if you need healthcare, you can have healthcare. Let's see, Glenn says it's shocking that people have to go bankrupt to finance medical issues. Yes, that is the big one. And that was one of the things that Obamacare was trying to prevent, was people losing their homes because they got sick or something like that. And now Donald Trump wants to declare war on that, which is a little nuts to me, because there can't be anybody who thinks that's a good idea, right? Unless they work for like an insurance company, maybe. Let's see. Mibs is excited about the dog. Mibs, the dog's name is Blaze. He is a very handsome boy. He is a very good boy. And he is very sweet. Blaze, you want to come here and say hi? Let's see if I can get him in the frame. Yes, a little bit. Hi. Look, everybody likes you. Everybody thinks you're very handsome. Austin says, I hear AI will be making huge changes in the healthcare industry by getting rid of humans. And that's actually a really efficient idea. We're the ones that keep getting sick all the time. Ugh, gross. It's probably because we're sitting in front of the computer asking ChatGPT to solve problems with us instead of going for walks. So yeah, two birds, one stone. Okay, the chasing is back. Glenn says, Germany's healthcare isn't perfect, but good. I would imagine it's probably better than ours in the terms of, you need healthcare and then you go to a doctor and then they just give it to you. And there's no like intermediary or insurance company or paperwork, or there's probably some paperwork, but yeah, it seems like you can have it. Mib says, I'm already drawing my satirical webcomic showing my Santos stand-in being thrown out of someone's anniversary party. Will you please send that to me once you've got it? I really want to see that. That sounds really good. All right, guys. Oh, wait, Glenn says, everyone is covered here in Germany. I believe I've heard of people from the US actually traveling to Europe to go get healthcare and then coming back. I read this story once where it was somebody from the US that was in Iceland, and they went to go get healthcare, and the doctor needed some additional tests and said, oh, I'm sorry, you're going to have to go across the hallway to this other office to do the test. And they were like very apologetic, and it was like, do you know what we have to do in the US to get that test? Like, I can walk across the hallway, that's fine, but she was very baffled by that. So I thought that was interesting. All right, guys, we are going to wrap things up for today. I want to thank you all. It's so good to be back here with you. So I wanted to let you know, if you haven't seen yet, our podcast is on hiatus until January. But in the meantime, we're going to have our regular show on Friday, along with some other fun surprises sprinkled throughout the month. And if you are in the Austin area, please come and join us for our live holiday spectacular on December 8th. We're going to do a little holiday variety show. It's going to be so much fun. Austin's going to be there. Mike Dynamo from the last episode is going to be there with me. It's going to be comedy and music and fun. You do not want to miss it. Leave a comment if you are interested, and I can send you the info for the tickets. You can also find it on the website, sandphoenix.com. And there's a tab there for Phoenix Holiday Special. Click on that, and there will be a big button under there where you can get the tickets. I want to say thank you guys so much for being here. I'm always delighted to see you. I love seeing my regulars. So please come back and join us again next Tuesday. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.